And you're probably saying, Eric, how in the heck are people guessing prices going to help me convert clients? Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Social Marketing. My name is Eric Hammond of the Orange Stack, and each week we show you guys how to use social media to grow your business, whether it's through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or anything else. There's so much that you can do with social media. Let's dive into this week's topic. So today we're talking about how to convert your followers on social media. It's really, once you have followers, what do you do with them? You're trying to convert them, you're trying to get dollars out of your followers. Do something with your followers. So this is going to be a good one. There's a bunch of good tips, really just some basic advice that you probably aren't doing right now, and there's some new strategies that you probably even haven't thought about yet. So the first one is expanding your marketing channels. A lot of you guys go super deep on one thing. Facebook's probably your bread and butter. 2 billion people are there right now, so it makes sense to be there. But granted, there's another dozen social media platforms out there that you're probably not using, and maybe some of them you've never even heard of before. So go Google social media platforms, see what's out there. As you watch this video into the future, there's going to be stuff that comes up that doesn't exist yet. I know that a while ago, Snapchat seemed pretty new, even though it's been out for almost 8 years now. It's crazy. It's come a long ways, had some ups and has some downs. Figure out where you're going to be. Just because something might be new or there might only be 100 million people on that platform doesn't mean it's not a viable platform to try out. When you're first into an area that doesn't have a lot of traffic yet, you're going to have better results. I remember back in the day, I've heard a lot of stories of people buying AdWords for 5 cents a click on Google. Now some of these AdWords are hundreds of dollars per click on Google for the same exact word. So being there first isn't always a bad thing. But Facebook is definitely the place to be if you're not there already. Instagram's probably a second follower. You definitely need to be on YouTube if you're doing anything with video. And if you're not doing anything with video, figure out how to make a video and get on YouTube, because there's so much stuff that you can do out of YouTube. It's the best place right now to convert the 18 to 49 year old. So if you're working with somebody who's in the 18 to 49 year old demographic, it's where you want to be. YouTube. Okay? Look at Anchor and Snapchat and LinkedIn and Twitter and dozens of other ones. Even WhatsApp, right? Even though it's owned by Facebook, WhatsApp is a great place now too. So think about the different options that you have. Just don't be at one place only. Spread it out. Figure out how you're going to get there. Diversify. Unfortunately, Facebook could go away someday. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But if you're solely on Facebook and it gone, what are you going to do next? You got to figure that out. So be on multiple platforms. There's actually a graphic that we'll probably show you right here, and it shows you a bunch of the top platforms and where everybody is, the different levels of how many users they have on an active monthly basis. As you can tell, there's a lot of people on a lot of different platforms. So figure out maybe your next strategy this summer. What else are you going to be doing? If I'm super strong on Facebook, what's my next step? Am I going to get on Instagram? Am I going to add Twitter? Am I going to get onto YouTube? What's my next step, and where do I go from here? Try to figure out how to branch out from the platform that you're currently on. The next thing I want to talk about too with this is that you have people who are in the same demographic who probably use different platforms differently, and that's going to tie into our next example, which is knowing your target audience. Okay, so knowing your target audience is part number 2. The thing about that, so I'm going to give you an example of my parents. My parents are in their 70s. They're my parents. I love them, obviously, but how they use social media is so interesting to me. So I'll start with my mom. My mom is on Facebook periodically. I would say 3 or 4 times a week. She's on Instagram probably 10 to 20 times a day. Okay, you post something on there, within a few minutes she's liking your photo. That's just my mom. She loves Instagram. She doesn't fit the normal Instagram demographic, but she knows that her kids are on Instagram and her grandkids are on Instagram and a lot of her friends are on Instagram, and she loves photos. She's a photographer. She held one of these Canon cameras back in the day and took a lot of pictures. So she loves the Instagram feel. She doesn't use Facebook as much because most of her friends are on Instagram, and it's just how it goes. So she's strong on Instagram. However, she rarely ever goes anywhere else. Instagram and Facebook are her 2 strongholds. Now, let's take a step over and talk about my dad. He's basically the same age, mid-70s, and he does not use Facebook. He's never been on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. He's used LinkedIn for his job and hiring people and background checks, I guess you could say, and looking at the resume, things like that. Doesn't really have an account on there, not really posting, we're hiring or anything like that. But his go-to stronghold is YouTube. He loves videos. He's the guy that comes home from work and watches TV for hours on end. He loves watching video. He loves watching YouTube content. How do I do this? How do I take this apart? How do I fix this? What do I do if this breaks? Touring countries and learning about trains and boats and cars and all these kind of things. That's what he loves about YouTube. I would guess, I have no idea, but I would guess he probably averages about an hour to 2 hours of YouTube content a day. So if you're doing video and you're trying to reach the 75-year-old man, my dad is the target audience and YouTube's the place. You run a little commercial in between two of his videos, he's gonna watch it. He doesn't even know that skip ad button's there. He's just watching the content all the way through, okay? Two same demographic people live in the same house, have owned their house the same period of time. They completely use social media differently. And I've talked about them before to use this example, but that's the case, is you can't assume that everybody in your age demographic is looking at the same platform. If you're just speaking to Facebook, you're missing out on everybody who's just watching video on YouTube. Get the point? You need to know the average age of your client, right? Who you're working with. Maybe do some homework this weekend on your area, your farm, your county, wherever it is that you sell houses. Do some homework. We did this about a year and a half ago when we were selling real estate and trying to get an idea of what our normal consumer was like. You know, who's selling houses in our county? By the way, I'm in San Diego County if this is the first video you've ever watched. Who's the average seller that we're working with? Who's the average buyer that we're working with? If you go to more affordable parts of the US, your average buyer might be 20 to 40 years old, somewhere in there. You know, they got out of college, they got a good job, they're tired of renting, 30-something years old, ready to put down some roots, have a baby, get married, buy a house, right? If you're selling a house, you know, maybe you're 45, you already have a kid or two and you're looking to get into the next spot. So that's kind of normal, I would say, in most areas of the US. In our county, the average age of a seller, now this is back in 2016-ish, 2017, the average age of a seller was 72 years old, okay? 72 years old. They're selling a 2,000 square foot 4-bedroom home and moving into a 1 or 2 bedroom condo. That's the average age of a seller. Average, okay? The average age of a buyer was 44 years old. Not first-time home buyer, but just average age of buyers in our county was 44 years old. The reason being is because the average sales price of a home in this county is like $680,000. To be able to afford a $680,000 house, you have to have had a good job, you have to have some savings, you've probably been saving for a while, your expenses are figured out, you know what you're doing, you're not moving around and trying to do stuff. 44. So get to know your numbers. The way that you market to a 44-year-old buyer is completely different than how you market to a 70-year-old seller, okay? So you got to understand that. You got to keep those messages apart and give them content based on how they digest it. And again, is your seller on YouTube all day long, or is your buyer on Instagram checking things out? Where you advertise matters. So get to know your audience. Spend some time and figure that out. Figure out where they are, what their habits are, where they hang out, what pages that they're looking at, what their interest is. You know, you can't just summarize everybody into they must like this type of an item to be interested in working with me. But you're going to know that, you know, are they in their 30s? Are they in their 40s? Do they have kids? Are their kids moving out? What's going on in their life that's dictating this type of a transaction in their life right now? Are they moving up and buying a bigger house? Are they moving down and moving into maybe a retired living facility? Get to know your audience. Even just doing some homework on the MLS can help you understand that really well. Okay, the next part is staying active on social media. Guys, social media is social, right? Social media. You need to stay active. I remember back when I started getting on Facebook, I'd post something like, hey, we're updating this, blah, 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 blah. And then I wouldn't do anything for like a month. I wouldn't even get into the platform for like 30 days. And I'd have all these comments and responses and things. And I'd be like, oh crap, I better respond to John and all these kind of things. So social media is different nowadays. The average person checks into Facebook 18 times a day. 18 times a day. That's crazy. That's like once every hour. And it's probably more often because they're not sleeping 6 hours. They're sleeping more than that. So if they're looking on Facebook every 18 hours, it means that you need to be there. You need to be responsive. You need to be engaging. So be on there, be active. If you're going to put something up there, be ready for the responses that come from it. You know, if you only got 5 followers, you're probably not getting that many responses. But if you do put an ad out there, or you do have content that's going to be there, be ready to respond pretty quick. You know, you don't need to be like Johnny on the spot every 2 minutes checking your account, but just know that, you know, within an hour, you probably have a response or so. So be used to it. You know, maybe at the top of every hour, just check in, see what's going on, do a quick pan through all your accounts, see if anything big's come up, and then wait again for another 50 minutes to do it again. But let me give you this a good example. There's actually an agent that I know who was having an open house, and this is a couple months ago, and he posted up this house. He didn't have the address. He basically just said open house in this town, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, you're gonna love it. Okay, no address, no price. He did have his phone number there, so I think he was hoping that the phone would just ring. What happened is all these people who followed him and everybody who saw this ad was like, hey, I love that house, it's beautiful, how much is it, where is it, when can I find the open house? His phone number, which people can pick up the phone, but not everybody wants to pick up the phone. They want to use social media and just text back and forth. If they wanted to pick up the phone, they'd probably call you, but they didn't. So he had 45 basically posts or engagements after this ad ran, and he didn't check it till after the open house. That's what killed him. He had all this momentum and all this opportunity to get people to show up to his open house, and all I'd have to do is look on there and someone says, hey, where's the house? I'd love to come this weekend. We're looking for a home in this area. Here's the address. We're going to be there from 1 to 4 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. Come check it out. Or here's the price. If you're interested, come talk to me about an offer, right? Just giving all the information. He, I think, thought that if I leave a little bit of information on the table, people are going to call me, but they didn't. And so had he checked his ad every couple hours or even once a day, he could have gone on there, responded, commented back to the people and said, hey, this house is listed for $600,000 or whatever it was. Would love to have you come to our open house this weekend. You know, we're going to be there from 1 to 4. Bring your agent if you want to, whatever it is. He ended up selling the house, obviously, because we're in an incredible market right now and houses are flying off the shelf, but he missed the opportunity to connect to those people. What happens when you're responsive and you're there all the time, your followers are going to see that. They're going to see that there's a post, let's say at 10 a.m. and you follow up at 10:05 or 11 or somewhere within the next couple hours, and they're going to trust you. What happens is they're going to see that trust, they're going to see you, and they're going to trust, and they're going to be able to know that if I post something, I'm going to hear back from you. So it's going to start that conversation, and that's the whole point of social media, is to get them to respond to you and get them to engage with you and come back more and more and more. So had this agent filled out his ad properly, he would have had some better posts. But had he responded to these posts, he would have been able to start that two-way conversation, maybe even taken that conversation off of Facebook and had a real in-person conversation with them and closed them as clients. So if you're going to put up content on social media, be sure to check in, be able to engage. If somebody gives you a thumbs up, give them a thumbs up back, right? Just start that dialogue. Take it to somewhere, the next spot, if you can. And people are going to trust you. And they know that, you know, if they have a question or something's going to come up, that you're going to be there to respond to them. Okay, the next tip kind of goes in sync with the last one. It's really automating your tools as much as possible. Because again, you know, if you're busy, if you're lead gen, if you're out knocking doors, if you're holding open houses, checking your phone every hour isn't possible. This works for the single agent who's got a few things going on, but could probably handle more. I'll put it that way. But if you're a big team and you got a lot going on, and there's leads coming in all over the place, and you have a really good social following, like 10,000 or more people, even before you get to 10,000 or more people, it's good to have automation. Have your post automated so that you can take that time away from having to come up with the content every single time. Think about it this way. If you were to post on Facebook, Instagram, and say Twitter, some of the easy ones, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter 3 times per day, that's a lot, but 3 times per day over the course of a week, you're talking about 63 posts per week over all those. That's a lot of content to come up with. What you don't want to do is post something on Twitter, copy paste it on Facebook, and copy paste it on Instagram. Number one, because it doesn't work that way. And two, we're going to get in that in the next one, so I won't spoil it alert here. But you want to keep your content unique to that platform. So come up with something that can automate it. Use a program like Buffer or Hootsuite, something that can say, okay, at 10 o'clock I want to post this, and at 2 o'clock I want to post this, and at 5 o'clock I want to post that. Spend maybe 3 or 4 hours on a Monday or a Sunday at the beginning of your week and map out the whole rest of the week for your content. Get it all set up so that it's already ready to be distributed, and all you have to do is follow along and pick up the pieces from all the engagement that you get, right? So let's say I check in Tuesday morning to see how things are going. I got a few responses, done. Maybe I don't have to check in again until 4 or 5, done. Now you're just kind of managing rather than trying to create this whole beast every single hour that you've got to post content. So I don't recommend posting 3 times a day. I'm just giving you an example here, but the point is to automate stuff. Have some type of an automation. There's even programs out there that can alert you through email if you do get a response. So that way you don't have to go to the platform. You'll just get an email saying, hey, someone replied on Facebook, someone replied on Instagram, you might want to go back and follow up with them. So the point is to automate it so that it takes a big burden off of you and your plate so that you can do other things like sell houses. Okay, we just talked about it a second ago, but the next tip is to offer exclusive opportunities. What this means is don't post the same thing on every one of your channels, right? If you have an open house, don't post it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place, because the point of a platform is you're trying to get the followers there to engage with you. If you share all your stuff everywhere, the people on Facebook don't need to follow you on Instagram. They don't need to follow you on YouTube. You want to keep your content specific to where you record it natively. So think about it this way. Maybe you just post your open houses on Facebook, and that's the only place that you post it. Maybe you do property tours on YouTube, and you create this amazing video about new properties, and you showcase the whole home and everything that has to offer, and you only hold it on YouTube. Maybe you can tease the people people on Facebook saying, guys, we just took a new listing, go check out our home tour on YouTube, and you're bringing them to YouTube, right? Maybe you create more long form content like a blog and you host that on LinkedIn. So it's more of long form content, blogs, people are coming back to engage with it week after week. Get the point, like post specific content in different places, and you're gonna be able to pick up the followers that are in those areas, but you're also gonna be able to take traffic from one platform and bring it into another. So keep exclusive content in specific places, and that'll help a lot too. Some of the things that you can offer your clients, and other videos about this, but just some of the basic things that you can offer your clients on exclusivity is open houses, right? So maybe you post again all your open houses in one area. Maybe you do a very detailed house tour of all the properties that are new to your area. So maybe every Wednesday you go tour all the new listings in your area and you go record a video in that home, even if it's not your listing, and just say, hey, here's the kitchen, here's the view, here's the master. If anyone's interested, give me a call. Obviously, you want to get permission from the listing agent before you do that. Maybe you do a live Q&A on Facebook Live once a week. You know, we do our live show, Facebook Friday, every Friday, 10 a.m. Quick plug here if you want to check in for that. And do a Q&A on there, and you just answer questions that people have. Maybe you do a frequently asked questions video, and you host that on Instagram. You just pop right through all the frequently asked questions that you get that week. Whatever it is, just provide value in the content that you give and keep it exclusive to the platform that is hosted in. The last thing that you can consider doing on social media to get engagement is to host a contest, right? Contests are fun. They do them on the radio all the time. Like there's the pay my bills, or there's, you know, guess the answer to this question and you're gonna get into a raffle and win some money. Whatever it is, radio is king of it. So if you want some ideas, go to the radio. But if you want to keep it about real estate, you know, think about what are your clients willing to do and willing to part with to get something in return. You know, obviously if you're offering $1,000, that's a pretty big prize. You may not be able to afford that or want to do that, but you're probably going to get any information that you ask for. If you go as low as $5, you're probably not going to get any takers. You know, if you say, I'll give anybody a free Starbucks card for this, I don't even think my email address is worth $5, so I wouldn't sell you that for a $5 gift card. But think about something in between. You know, maybe you have a bigger contest to get a bunch of people and you give away a $100 Visa card, or you give away, you know, free staging, whatever that may be. Think about the value that you have and some of the things that you can give away. Think about things that may not cost you physical money, but just being able to give of your time so that it's a little bit easier for you to part with in the beginning. Just to give you some ideas, there's an agent that I saw, this is really clever. He took a new listing and he basically posted it on Instagram, and then in the description, he basically put, you know, guess how much this house is going to sell for. So over the next couple weeks before it went under contract, all these people were guessing dollar amounts to see, you know, how close they could be to the price. And you only got one guess per day so that you didn't, you know, just blah, blah, blah every single day. But the person who was the closest without going over won the $100 Visa gift card. So that was kind of fun. There's some other ones that you could say, guess how much this home is now worth, meaning that a year ago I sold this house and it sold for $500,000, whatever. You know, there's a new home coming into the area. If you took the home 12 months later, what do you think that home would sell for? I mean, the market's going up, right? It's not worth $500,000 anymore. What do you think it's going to sell for now? And you take guesses, and maybe say for the next 7 days, we're going to allow everybody one guess. And at the end of the week, we give somebody a $100 Visa card or something like that. Just fun things, right? You're getting engagement, you're getting people to respond. And you're probably saying, Eric, how in the heck are people guessing prices going to help me convert clients? What it's doing is it's building up momentum on these posts that you have. You know, if 50 people or 5,000 people comment to your posts, you're going to get engagement. The platform's going to say, hey, there's a lot going on here. Let's share this with more people and get more people to see it so that you get more traction. And if you do these kind of things over and over and over, you're going to get more following, and more people are going to say, hey, look, this guy knows, or this woman knows the real estate market. They know what's going on here. I trust them. They're sharing good content. I want to keep following them. I'm ready to work with them when I go to sell my house. And that's the point of all of this, is stand out, be the expert. When somebody is ready to move, they're going to call you. It's amazing how many agents I talk to who say they follow up with their database. People that they know, that trust them, but then they call the person in their phone book back and say, hey, you know, it's been a while since I've talked, 6 months ago. What's going on? Oh, sorry, man, we ended up selling our house. You know, I talked to my sister and she knew this guy. We ended up buying this house. Sorry about that. You've got to stay in front of people over and over and over. Social media is going to be your best friend if you can figure out how to get engagement on there, stay consistent, share powerful, valuable advice, not just open houses, not just new listings, not just, hey, look at me, I'm an amazing real estate agent. I sold this house for above asking, but content that separates you from everybody else, that lets them know that you're the expert. That's how you get engagement and conversion on social media. Hey everyone, we produce this short video every single week. It actually goes out in our newsletter here, and if you're interested, be sure to subscribe down below, wherever the button is. Be sure to subscribe. We only share this video out through this platform once a week, and if that's too much for you, we completely understand, but we'd love to have you follow along. Share this video with somebody else if you'd love to. Join our newsletter. There's a lot of great advice in there on how to be a better real estate agent, how to take more listings, and how to get more out of your social media account. Guys, my name is Eric Hammond of the Orange Stack. I appreciate you following along each week as we uncover how to use social media in your business. Until next week, we'll see you then.